Mark Hulmes, DM of the High Rollers, describes things in detail even though there's a visual aid.
You pull it free as this huge burst of blood spatters onto the ground. He looks down in total shock of this grievous wound he's just taken.
How's he looking?
Pretty bad.
You see, sometimes using lots of minis and terrain and complicated maps can distract from the immersion in a game. It's a lot easier to fall into the trap of just saying, okay, you move here, you attack, you do this much damage, that's the end of your go. But you can see here, Mark remembers to narrate the small things going on, sounds, smells, feelings. You don't want your players to feel like they're playing Baldur's Gate 3, seeing everything from the top down. You want them to have a top-down view as a reference, but you also want them to imagine the battle going on around them, to imagine the environment, to be immersed. And Mark does this by checking in with players, asking them how they feel, what they look like in combat, what they're thinking in the moment. All those things make it more engaging. If you can, prioritize story and character development. The combat's fun, but having enemies having a dialogue with the players and having the players interact with each other is what will really make the battle mean something. It's one of the big reasons I'm an advocate for the rule of cool and kind of making dialogue between players a completely free action. Even if they would not have a chance to, say, have a 20-second conversation in their 6-second go, I think of it like anime rules. Time does not really matter if you have a cool character-driven moment. Though obviously, this needs shaking up depending on what kind of game you and your players want to play. But I think the most important thing Mark does is describe other senses. Sound, smell, taste. It's one thing to know your ally just fired a fireball past your head into a nearby enemy, but it's another to feel the air around you grow warmer. Feeling the air pressure change as the fireball flies by, hearing the whoosh of the flame, and feeling the debris from the explosion it causes. I should also say I have seen Mark Hulmes a few times now use these big, epic open battle maps, with a ton of things to do. The opposite of my first Matthew Mercer point, which was making smaller, cluttered spaces that can lead to really tense fights that can be over quickly. But making large open spaces can lead to long fights, and sometimes you want fights to be long. And epic, with lots of moving pieces. Mark often has other objectives in these kinds of fights, outside just whistling down the enemy's hit points. Maybe there's a portal the players need to close, or civilians that need to be saved from falling buildings. Maybe the bad guy is invincible while 3 statues are standing, and the players have to destroy the statues first before they can end the fight. With these large-scale battle maps, the best thing you can do is still make sure there is a lot of cover, though it can be spread out more, but also give cool options for mobility, the ability to climb onto a rooftop, for example, and also just having a lot more things to do outside of just hitting a monster until it's 0 HP.